What's up, guys? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Young, Famous, and African. In this video, we're going to review episodes 3 and 4. So let's get into it. All right, y'all. So the episode opens up where it left off on episode 2, where we got Connie basically telling Andile, Diamond, Annie, and Swanky F y'all because y'all is messing up the vibe of the group, and it's been hella awkward ever since all four of y'all, started to beef with each other. You know what I mean? And so Swanky and Diamond kind of played what she said to the left, but you had Annie in her confessional feeling offended by what Akani did, and then Andile pretty much saying to Akani, "I'm a grown man, a father of 4. How dare you? How dare you, girl?" And Dilay's like, "How dare you try to embarrass me in front of mixed company, i.e. Fantana and Lewis?" Like, well, was Fantana there? I think it was just Lewis. But he was like, "Connie, you done lost your mind. You done lost your mind, but I'm gonna help you find it." But he ends up leaving. We didn't have a sit down with Zari and Kaylee, which was really awkward because they don't really have any type of chemistry. And Zari just blurts out that she was like, Innocent might possibly have a baby with his personal banker in Nigeria. And Kaylee's looking at her like, "Girl, why are you bringing this up with Annie in the room?" And she was like, "It's not classified information. It's not, it's not no FBI, CIA type of stuff. It's a public record. It's on the internet." And this conversation felt weird and it felt forced because there was no segue into the conversation. Zari just brung it up like, he might have a baby out there, secret baby. And Kaylee's just sitting there acting like she doesn't know what's going on. And I'm like, "Girl, I promise you know what's going on because your man is DJ Naked and he messy. Naked is messy. So I know he know." So we then have a sit down with Swanky, Nadia, and Connie. And Connie basically apologizes to Swanky because Swanky pretty much is feeling some type of way about the way Bonang was welcomed by the group at Diamond's party. My thing about Swanky is like, first of all, you didn't tell them that girl was coming. Second off, you already know that Nadia and Bonang are not friends. They're ex-best friends. So why would you ever think that they would have like a warm welcome for each other? Third, Connie pretty much let you know in certain terms that like they see each other. Shout out to Candy Burris and Nene Leakes. They see one another and they're just industry friends. So they already knew who she was. So why would you expect them to be like, "Oh my God, it's Bonang, it's Bonang." It's like he wanted them to have like this starstruck kind of like welcome for her, and it's like they know who she is and like they're not impressed. So I don't know why you think they should be. If you're impressed, that's you, but like other people don't have to be impressed by you. So they pretty much apologize to him. Nadia apologizes again and Connie apologizes again. But Connie brings up that like, "Yo, we was just trying to go see what was up with Annie because you didn't hug her." And that's my thing with this whole situation with Swanky and Annie is when people ask them questions, all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, y'all don't need to know." They're like very like they shut down the conversation or they get very defensive. And it's like, y'all the ones that are being weird. Y'all are being weird. Like, why would you not think people would want to like pry or ask questions when Swanky pretty much embarrassed Annie, even though I thought it was funny, when he didn't hug her at the table. You got Annie telling Connie when they meet that they haven't spoken in months. So it's like, of course people are gonna want to know why people who first when they were introduced to y'all stated that y'all were like brother and sister, like relatives, like best friends. Of course people are going to want to know why y'all not cool no more because y'all making it awkward as hell for everybody. So Swanky gives us a piece of the information, pretty much saying that he was on a 3-way call, and that took me back to high school. He was on a 3-way call, and the person put him on mute. And the moment Annie like got clicked into the conversation, he said she just started disrespecting him to this person, running his name through the mud, and he was just like, I can't believe she would do me like that. And ever since then, he just been kind of cool on her. He was like, "I'm ready to talk to her. Like, I'm spiritually, mentally, and all that good stuff ready to talk to her. But based off of her reaction, when we actually have a sit down, that will really determine whether or not this relationship will move forward." So it's been a few days after Connie's party, and we see Annie and Dile meet up And pretty much Ndile is giving Annie the opportunity to clear the air as it pertains to the whole situation with the Nigerian banker claiming that she's pregnant with his, I guess, eighth child, Innocent's eighth child. So as they're sitting down, before they get into the conversation, well, while they're talking about this on, like, recording, and Ndile brings up that, he has a similar situation where it's like there's four kids, two mothers, three fathers. That don't make sense. I want to see the family tree. And so he's like, like, I guess, relates to Annie and Innocence in their situation. I don't know why you would want to relate to that toxic mess, but okay. So Annie pretty much says that this lady has been saying that she's pregnant by Innocence since 2014. And every 2 years she comes out with the same story. And she doesn't understand why the blogs don't pick up that she comes out with this same story every time, that they run it as though like it's a new person. She also tries to say that they have, her and Innocent has seven kids together, two of their own, and then five with two other women. And she's like, those kids came before the marriage. Lies, because on episode 1 of last season, I remember Annie sitting on that couch at Connie's party crying to Ndile, talking about, my daughter isn't even his first child, and we've been married the longest. Pretty much confirming that man didn't have babies on you out of like, is it they've been affair babies. He's been having affair and break babies on you. Like, he's done it 5 times, but now y'all are trying to rewrite history by saying that it's a lot of misinformation out there and it's a lack of information, and like that's why things are going the way they're going. No, things are going the way they're going because your man is dirty. He a dirty dog, and girl, you got fleas because of him. Like, it did not make any sense to me, y'all, that Annie was sitting here trying to rewrite history, saying that these babies happened before they got together. And then she's crying about how people are saying that she's raising toxic kids and people are so heartless. And my thing about it is like, the blogs only write what you can give them. Yes, there are some blogs like Media Takeout and like what's that other thing? Like, all I can think about is Media Takeout, that be pretty much making up stuff. They just be making up stuff, and people don't really pay them no mind. But other blogs are able to have like sources and facts. And I feel as though Annie is trying to change the narrative because this show has gotten popular, and maybe her and Innocent saw how people was dog walking them on the internet and being like, girl, you don't deserve this. But it's not making sense now. All of a sudden you're trying to act like those 5 kids happened before y'all got married, because I'm sure, I keep going back to that picture they showed of them kids. Your kids and their kids look about the same age. There's probably hood twins in there. I bet you either 1 or 2 of those kids are the same ages as Annie kids. So what are y'all talking about? He had breaking affair babies on you, and you just chose to stay. Just own it. I feel like if they would own it, we wouldn't be going down this rabbit hole of stupidity. We then see Ndile and Zari meet up, and then we also see Fantana and Diamond meet up. Ndile and Zari pretty much friend zone each other, but Zari got to it first. She said she was really vibing with Ndile, but she doesn't understand why everyone has an issue with them hanging out. Like, she was really pissed that Swanky and Naked came up to her, pretty much trying to check her for talking to Ndile. She then ends up saying that, Diamond feels like Ndile is the same as him. And Ndile was like, no, I think he thinks more of me than that. I was like, no, he don't, because he see you. As much as I don't see it for Diamond, Diamond sees you, Ndile. You are just a nice F-boy. You're just nicer about your tendencies, and Diamond's just blunt and in your face with it. They are getting on my nerves with this whole father of my kids energy and like mother of my kids energy. Like, it's getting annoying. And then Ndile brings up about Fantana and how does Zari feel about Diamond getting with Fantana? And Zari's not phased. She's pretty much like, yeah, he looked like that's somebody he would mess with, so I bet you he gonna get her. And then Ndile tells Zari, like, when Diamond comes into the room, your world stops. Like, you become like you're his. And she's like, well, that's the father of my kids, man. I feel safe with. They're stupid. At this point, y'all just, like, it's weird. They just need to be in a polyamorous relationship and move forward, because Diamond and Zari do the same thing where they meet other people to kind of like antagonize each other, and then they mess around with one another. It's story as old as time. Story as old as time. But basically, Andile got his face got cracked when she said, "Bro, you are Diamond." He was like, yeah, bro, you definitely are her, are him." So then Fantana and Diamond. Fantana is a goofy bird, and Diamond is a whore. Like they're sitting down at his house because she invited him over. Fantana pretty much got on her best Fashion Nova outfit, just naked, coming to his house, booty and everything everywhere. That BBL body is BBLing. She sits down with Diamond. Diamond is pretty much flirting really hard with her. She asks him like, "Are you married to Zari?" And he's like, "No, me and Zari aren't married." And the Fantana's like, "But y'all be acting like y'all are. Y'all be acting like there's like y'all are." And so Diamond is like, "No, we not married, but pretty much, she wants to have another baby with me." And she's like, "That's weird," which I think is weird too. If y'all not together, what's the point of you having another baby? But the way that they want to do it is through surrogacy with his sperm and her egg. So she's like, we can have this baby together. So my thing about it is Fantana is like pressed about Zari. Like it's like she wants to stake her claim to Diamond, and it's like you keep saying that Diamond is like just somebody on your roster. You're a city girl, he a city boy, but you're acting like you want to be his main girl, his girlfriend. They start holding hands and stuff. They end up kissing. He running game as they kissing. I don't know if Fantana's lips are lip injection lips or if it's the teeth in her mouth. It's her like the dent. We're not. Are they called dentures? I can't think of the name of them right now, but the teeth in her mouth, I don't know if that is pushing her lips upward, but it's bothering me. They're making out on the couch, and then they end up going upstairs to do what they was doing. So then we have this scene of naked Andile, Lewis, and Swanky meeting up to play basketball. Swanky looked amazing in his little sweater outfit. They start talking about, DJ Naked's talking about, me and Kaylee don't need therapy because I'm dicking her down. I hate the way that man talks about penis and dick. It's weird. I don't know why they stopped therapy, but you could tell that Naked didn't feel comfortable in therapy because he's that type of person. Swanky, like I said, comes with a blanket and doesn't play basketball with them. And Dile asks Lewis how he felt about the whole situation with Connie pretty much blasting him and them in front of everybody. And he pretty much feels like Dile tried to steal his moment. And he was like, he practiced so hard for this toast that he wanted to like do for the people. And so he ends up doing the toast at the basketball court. It was so corny. Like Lewis is weird, but he is somebody who craves to be liked. And once we find out his backstory, it makes sense. But he is somebody who wants to be liked, who wants to be accepted by the group. But he also has like an inflated ego of who he is. And it's like there was no reason for that boy to do that. There was no reason for him to say his toast in front of these people you don't know. And it was so awkward and cringy. He then talks about Fantana. Like, Lewis has, like, a crush on Fantana. But Swanky is the one that's like, well, she got a crush for Diamonds. I don't even know if you're not her speed. Lewis is too much of a nice guy for Fantana. Fantana want a thug. And Lewis is not that. He is not that. We then see Andile leave because he got to go do something for work. So now all we have is Swanky, Lewis, and Naked. And he ends up talking about Bonang. I think Swanky brings up Bonang and Lewis brings up Bonang. And basically how he had an event that he did in Namibia for, a few years ago where Bonang ended up leaving because he made a mistake with her hotel. He was like, I asked her to come to host the fashion event, but I didn't have her accommodations ready. I dropped the ball and she left, so I need to see her so I could apologize to her because like I sent an email, but I would like to apologize to her face to face. So that scene ends and then we see Fantana, Nadia, Zari, Bonang, Kaylee, and Connie do a paint and sip kind of thing with a naked man. And it's Fantana's event. Nadia looked amazing in that outfit. Her body looked great. Like that cutout outfit. And they sit down to like paint. And Nadia is like, girl, I don't know like if I would be hosting events so early in the group. Like you don't even really know everybody. So it's kind of weird that you want to do this. But okay. Zari versus Fantana happened, where Zari was pretty much kind of being like a pestering guest, but she was like looking at Fantana like, girl, like you're the hostess, you're the one that's supposed to be pouring everybody drinks and trying to like, get the people together. But Fantana was doing the bare minimum. Um, you then hear them ask Annie, no, they ask Connie, like, where is Annie? And Connie is like, Fantana, leave me alone. Like, I am not Annie's keeper. I don't know where she is. But Annie ends up showing up. We see Annie be nice to Zari, where they both say hi to each other, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, like, y'all could really be friends. And then Connie says in her confessional, she was like, I really think that Zari and Annie could actually be better friends than me and her. Like, I really think that they could really be friends if they get it together. We then have a scene where Fantana asks everyone to say something nice about each other, like their favorite thing about each other, but everyone's like, no. Like, we don't do that type of stuff. And Fantana was like, ugh, y'all really don't like each other. And Connie's like, girl, shut up. We just not fake with one another. Like, we not gonna play these games like that. Like, we care about each other, but we not about to sit here and funk the fake with each other when we don't really like each other like that right now. So let it go. We then have a scene with Bonang and Fantana where they pretty much talk about the vibes in the groups. Fantana ends up telling Bonang everything she did with Diamond, like how they kissed, how she stayed at the night at his house. Because Nadia asked Fantana that, but Fantana didn't tell her about the kissing or staying at the house. And then Bonang pretty much says she gonna tell Zuri about it. She gonna let Zuri know about it. So we then have a scene with Innocence and Dile, Naked, and Lewis, where they're all like playing pool. Before Naked and Lewis get there, and Dile and Innocent are talking about, the blogs and all this stuff. And like Innocent would get on my nerves because he was just talking in circles. That man was talking in circles. Naked arrives and he was already being shady in the confessional about the babies. And basically, he was being shady. I think he was talking about, we not going to have no babies or something or nothing. I hope we not talking about babies, new babies, but allegedly. Lewis pretty much is trying too hard. He is trying to, when he gets there, he's like excited, but he's trying too hard to connect with them. And like I said, once we hear about his backstory, it makes sense why he's overly trying to connect to people. But it's cringy. It's awkward and it's cringy. So Lewis basically tells them that, I'm 30. I'm planning for single parenthood. Like, I would like to have a kid by this time. I'm successful in every other aspect of my life, but I want to have some babies now. You got Andile being like, that doesn't make sense. Like, I'm telling you, like, you would want to have kids, like, with a partner. You don't want to just have kids by yourself. Like, that's very hard. And then I think Andile says, coming from a household that I didn't have my parents because I guess they were divorced, like, all I wanted was my parents to be together. So I don't think that's very smart for you to want to have those kids. Then he starts to what's his name? Lewis starts to bring up like surrogacy, and they're like, what? So do you have women lined up? And he's like, yeah, I'm looking for egg donors. I look at their genes, I look if they drink a lot, if they smoke a lot, if they do this, this, and this. And I'm like, yeah, but Lewis don't seem like he ready for a family. He need to work out the issues that he has with his own people before he decides to have a family. So the last scene we have is of Swanky, Bonang, and Fantana hanging out. And Swanky pretty much lies on Lewis. Basically says that Lewis said that Bonang left the hotel because of flowers and like drinks not being in her room, when that is not what that boy said. Then Bonang tells on Fantana about kissing and being all up over Diamond. And then Bonang has a complete attitude and meltdown about Lewis. And she's talking about, let me Google him. Because now she got an attitude because she feel like he been lying on her about this situation. Even though it was Swanky who put 20 on 10. And even when you listen to Lewis's retelling of the story, he's not blaming Bonang, he's blaming himself. So I don't know how she got in her mind that she was the victim. Like, that he was victimizing himself and that he wasn't making her the victim, because he really rightfully so said, I messed up. I messed up. It was my first event. I messed up. And Swanky ran back and told her a complete lie. And then we find out that Fantana pretty much doesn't think Lewis has a chance in hell to be with her. So let's move on to episode 4. So this episode opens up and we see Annie and Bonang hanging out. Pretty much Bonang has invited Annie to go like boating on the lake. Mind y'all, the way Bonang be like carrying herself, I thought they was gonna be on a yacht. The boat that they was on, I was like, girl, that look like a little pontoon that we ride over here in the country. In the lake in the lakes of the South. I was like, you acting like this, like you was gonna give me a yacht. But I was like, I'm gonna let it go. So as they're walking along the banks of the lake, Bonang is like, girl, what's up with you and Swanky? Like, what is up with you and Swanky? Like, give me the tea. And Annie's pretty much like, I feel like I can trust Bonang. Annie pretty much is like, she feels like everybody else who asks her about Swanky and her situation, she feels as though they want to throw more fuel onto the fire. That they genuinely don't want to help. They just want to know what's going on. And Annie decides to tell Bonang. She tells Bonang, I'm really heartbroken. Swanky betrayed me. Annie says that her and Swanky planned to throw an event, but it was Annie's event in the beginning. Like, she was the one who cooked up the idea. Then Swanky decided to throw the party without her knowing. Like, he canceled, saying he couldn't work with her anymore to do the party. And then the party happened on Thursday, and then they had the party. And the party that they're referring to is the all black party that they had in Lagos that Zuri brung up on episode 1 about how she was at the party with Swanky and she didn't see Annie and she thought that was weird. She thought that was mighty weird. So Bonang is pretty much being like, Annie is definitely in the wrong because she's not telling the full story. And I was like, yeah, she's not. Like, that's something I agree with Bonang with. I was like, girl, yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, because Annie, I'm with Bonang when Bonang was like, well, why would he not invite you? Like, it doesn't make sense that he would do that out the blue. And it sounds like Annie just doesn't want to admit that she did something wrong, which makes me feel like what Swanky is saying about her is actually true. It's actually true that she was caught with her slip showing, talking trash about him, and now she's trying to act like she's the victim. So we then see them like waiting, like eating like a little picnic before they get on the boat. And then they get on the boat when Zari arrives. Annie is like, oh my God, why is she here? Like, she's like, why did Bonang not tell me that girl was coming? And Zari is like, has the same sentiments. So they get on the boat. Zari asks Annie if she's pregnant because she don't want to drink the champagne. And she gave the same response. Zari's like, are you pregnant? And she said, girl, no. So Annie, I think this was messed up, but I mean, if y'all aren't friends anymore, I guess it is what it is. But Annie ends up playing the voice note that Swanky sent her. Annie is like, he sent me this voice note, but I knew it wasn't genuine. I knew it wasn't real. She showed them the voice note because Zari asks, like, girl, when's the last time you and Swanky had a conversation? And she was like, it's been months, but he did send me a voice note. So they're like, oh, okay. And she was like, but I don't think it was genuine. So Annie plays the voice note on the boat for them. And for Zaria and Bonang, not Zaria, but for Zaria and Bonang, they kind of feel like it was genuine. But Annie's like, no, I know Swanky. I know that's not him. I felt like he was acting. You could hear the shaking in his voice. It didn't feel real. She just felt like it was fake. So then Zari ends up telling Annie that Swanky basically said that he introduced her to the Johannesburg crowd, which is the people on Young, Famous, and African. And now Annie is acting brand new, like she's better than him. Annie pretty much is upset by that. And she's like, F all of that. Like, I was way more famous before you. Way more famous before you. So why would I ever need you for fame pertaining to Swanky? So then Zari ends up calling Connie a snake because she was like, she hasn't really spoken to, Annie ends up saying she hasn't really spoken to anybody. And they bring up Connie, and Zari's like, Connie's a snake, because one minute Connie will be cool in your face, but the next minute she'll be riding for the people against you. So you got to change her, you have to watch her. So she pretty much told Annie to watch Connie. So we have a scene with Nadia, Swanky, Kaylee, and Connie meeting up, and Nadia invited everyone to this restaurant that wasn't even open to like hang out, get drinks, and talk. They end up asking about the whole Annie and Swanky situation. Swanky ends up saying how he sent her a voice note and was like, trying to reach out to her because he was like, I still care about her, but he didn't get no response from it. Then Nadia ends up saying that, you know what, me and Annie aren't really friends. Like, we became friends because we had a main adversary, which was Zari. Last season, but now that she's not an enemy but Swanky is an enemy, we're really not friends. Like, we really don't have nothing in common, and she really don't be checking up on you, like, if she don't really have to. Like, she is very one-sided in her friendship. Then Connie speaks up and says she feels the same way. She was like, last season she felt like she was Annie's attack dog, and she was like, I'll always be there for her, but it's like she don't really be trying to reach out or kind of like talk to anybody else. So it is pretty much like a one-sided friendship. It kind of feels like a friendship breakup. Then Kaylee speaks up and she says, well, girl, you basically told her to F off, so why would you even think that she would be okay with still communicating with you? And Connie's like, girl, I can say whatever I want to my friends. Like, my friends should be able to say it back to me, and we should move on from it. Like, I said what I said. But Kaylee's like, girl, you still shouldn't have said what you said, because what you said was some bull. And the scene ends there. Y'all, this dinner was from hell. So we have this scene of Innocence inviting people over to cheer up Annie. So he invites DJ Naked, Kaylee, Nadia, and Andile. We don't see Connie, Swanky, or Zaria, or Lewis, or Fantana, or Diamond. And so before everyone gets there, Annie's like, I can't, like, she was like, give my marriage a break. How much can it take? I'm like, girl, give your own marriage a break and leave that man and find somebody that loves, respects, and cherishes you. Cause he surely don't. Cause he proved it tonight that he respects nothing about you. You are a doormat to him. So, and Dile was being fake and kissing their asses just like Kaylee and Naked was. Nadia was the only one that was like asking questions. And really the questions she was asking weren't even serious questions. She just asked that man to clarify his stupid statement, and he made himself look a fool. So they're sitting at the table, and Dile's talking about, you guys represent, like, perfectly imperfect couple. Like, y'all just fit. And Annie and Tubaba are soaking this up like dummies. Cause I'm like, this man is basically shading you. He's basically saying that your marriage is a sham and a dumpster fire, but you two make it work somehow. And that's wonderful for you. Basically saying you two don't, like, y'all are basically admitting y'all don't deserve anything better. More so Annie is admitting this. Because Tubaba don't deserve nothing but the pain that he gets for the turmoil he causes other people. So Annie is like, she tries to answer, but before she could answer, Tubaba talks about, and it gets really weird. I was like, is he drunk? Is this man drunk? As he's talking, he basically said he can F whoever he wants, but he can only love one person. And everyone at the table is like, what? Like, everyone was stuck after that statement. So then Nadia is like, can you clarify? Like, are you talking about yourself, or are you talking about other men? So all of a sudden, Tubaba gets an attitude because he sounds stupid. And he didn't think nobody was going to check him, because he then is like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? She was like, no, I don't. Can you explain? So then he's like, pretty much, he can be with men are hardwired to have sex with anything, any woman, but only make love to one woman. Basically saying a man can go around having sex with whoever he wants, but he can always come back to his wife, because women should just understand that that's how he's wired. He embarrassed the mess out of Annie. And they were trying to act like Nadia did it. That's why I was glad Nadia told and did, like, I will smack you in the face. You keep telling me to calm down, or telling me to stop asking questions, because she did nothing. Nadia did nothing, and that man was digging his own grave. Like Naked said, Nadia gave him the shovel, and maybe she did give him the shovel, but he was the one digging, and she didn't tell him to dig. It just got real weird, and that man just sounded so completely and utterly stupid. And he got so embarrassed that she got up from the table after he made a fool of himself, and she ran to the bathroom, probably to cry herself to sleep at night. And Dile was just being annoying, trying to blame Nadia for this. Honestly, Naked pretty much told us that he cheats on his wife 24/7, and it's okay because he's a man and he's hardwired that way. I've met dogs with more self-control than that. The fact that you just admitted that you do not respect your wife, and you damn sure don't respect yourself, because self-control in and of itself is respect of your body, and you have none for yours. And that is pathetic at your big age. At your big age. One thing about this show that is getting old for me is these meetings where they're not telling everybody who is all supposed to be there. Like, that is starting to work my nerves, because I know it will work my nerves. Like, don't invite me to some place where I have beef with somebody, because now I'm going to look at you like you an op. And I'm going to be like, you put me in a dangerous situation because you don't know if that person means me harm. They keep doing this. So we have Bonang, Lewis, Zari, Swanky, and Fantana meeting up. Lewis didn't even know that Bonang was coming. He just thought he was showing up to like an event with Fantana and the other ladies. But Swanky wanted Bonang and Lewis to sort their things out. Lewis ends up explaining himself. He says, I had an event when I was 23. Like, I hosted this event when I was 23. It was my first event. It ended up raining. It was a fashion show event that we were having outside. But then we had to move venues. And when I did that, I forgot to book you a place, and you left. And he was like, you know what? I'm really sorry. Like, I'm really sorry. Like, I dropped the ball. I know I emailed you, but I wanted to apologize to you face to face. Bonang is looking at Swanky like somebody is lying. But instead of looking at her friend and being like, he might be lying, she directs all her anger and frustration towards Lewis. And Lewis' story has been consistent since episode 3 about what happened. He added the whole raining situation thing. But other than that, he keeps copping to the fact that, he keeps copying to the fact that, I made the mistake. It wasn't your fault. So I don't understand why she's so mad and trying to act like such a bitch to him when he keeps saying, like, it was my fault. It'd be totally different if Lewis was going around saying, like, Bonang was a diva. She was so unprofessional. But he's like, no, I made a mistake, and rightfully so, she left. He has never once tried to, like, say she was in the wrong. So next thing you know, Zari tells Swanky about Annie in the voice note. Bonang ends up telling the group about what Annie said. And Swanky ends up telling his version of the story. How he wanted to do this event with Annie. He's the one that came up with the event, not Annie. And Annie... he got everything together because Annie doesn't really do events. Annie is not the girl that hosts events, and she gives that. She gives that she does not host events, but Swanky does. So he was like, I called her management to let them know, like, we could move forward. And Annie ends up calling, and I guess Annie's manager merges the call, but doesn't tell Annie that Swanky's on the phone. And immediately Annie goes into, like, I know you love Swanky, but I don't want him to be a part of this. And I guess she ended up saying more things about him. And while this is going on, Swanky is texting the manager, like, if you don't unmute me, I'm about to burn this place down, because how dare she have the audacity to speak negatively about me, and we're friends like this. So Swanky is like, I'm about to mess all this stuff up. So that conversation stops. They take a break in the moment, in like while they're sitting down before they eat, and you see Lewis and Fantana go off to the side, and Lewis is flirting with Fantana. He really likes Fantana. Honestly, Lewis is probably more of Fantana's speed. Fantana trying to act like she JT and Carisha, like she really is scamming these dudes. She taking their money. She doing all of this stuff, but honestly, she's just a little girl playing a little fantasy, and she getting caught up. And she already got caught up. So they come back to the table. Bonang is pressed. Bonang is pressed by Lewis. So Swanky tells Zari about Fantana and Diamond. Zari is kind of taken aback, but Zari ends up telling Fantana, don't be like Nadia. Do not be like Nadia. Because remember last season when Nadia and Diamond were talking, Diamond invited Zarya and basically played Nadia to the left. So Zarya is trying to tell Fantana, like, girl, I'm always going to be number one and you always going to be number two. Fantana ends up talking about she a city girl. Diamond ain't even on my roster. He ain't even my number one. He like number 4, number 5. Like, she trying to spit all this game, making a fool of herself because she got caught up. So Lewis ends up saying like, hey, I don't want you to make this about being a side chick for Diamond. And Fantana's like, I'm not his side chick. But he was like, no, I don't mean it that way. He's like, I'm trying to say I don't want your career to mainly be about you being Diamond's girl. Bonang starts getting an attitude and starts going off on Lewis, like just lashing out at Lewis, pretty much saying she's F the biggest stars in Africa and I'm still standing. She could do whatever she want with her box. Like, how dare you try to like basically slut shame her. And like she's being very nasty towards Lewis, pretty much talking trash about his home country, Namibia, just being nasty. And then Lewis is like, but that's how society will view her. And Bonang's like, F society. And he's like, well, I just believe in her and I want it to be about her music. Zarya tries to tell Bonang, like, girl, chill out. And it's not even that deep. And so Lewis and Bonang keep getting into it. And my thing about it is, I got where Lewis was coming from and I got what Bonang was saying. Lewis is pretty much saying like, girl, you're new to the scene. So all this will, like, people will use this and just say like you're Diamond's girlfriend that does music on the side, or you're Diamond's new run-of-the-mill fling. He's like, you want everyone to know you for your music, not because you're attached to Diamond, because Diamond's star is way bigger than Fantana's. And like I told y'all, they've been dragging Fantana on TikTok. So sis, he was right. He was totally right. And I got what Bonang was saying, like, a woman should not be judged by who she sleeps with. She should still be able to go out there and be who she wants to be and still get the respect and accolades she deserves. But the issue is Bonang was doing too much and it was making her look crazy. She looked crazy because the conversation wasn't that deep. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic. Hop down in them comments below. Remember to subscribe and share your thoughts. Deuces.